Beautiful to be here. Beautiful that we all took the time to be together and to nurture our neshamot, our souls. It's kind of rare. So I just want to start with that appreciation. And now I want to chant a little. Just one word, shalom. I always wish we could chant together because you're just stuck with my voice, but it'll do. Uh, it's simple. You might close your eyes, open your heart, sit as upright and comfortably as possible. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, 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 shalom. Breathing in shalom, breathing out shalom. Breathing in relaxation, letting go of any tension we're holding in our bodies. If you'd like, you can open your eyes, say a few words about shalom. I thought, given the time of year, in quick succession, we had Yom HaShoah, as we do every year, commemoration of the Holocaust. Yom HaZikaron, the commemoration of those lost at war in Israel, and then Yom HaTzmaut, Israeli Independence Day. And any year it's an intense time, and this time it's especially challenging, I think. Not to mention the swirl around us. So I thought shalom would be nice. It would be good self-care. And shalom turns out to be one of those words, those Hebrew Jewish words that seem simple but actually runs very deep. We know shalom as hello, also as goodbye. Shalom actually works on the vertical and horizontal axes. So vertical would be, actually I want to go horizontal first. Horizontal, bein adam lechavero, between one person and another. So hello, goodbye, how are you? And also then vertical would be bein adam lemakom, between us and my favorite word for God, hamakom, the place. And shalom turns to work both ways. So we say shalom to greet someone. You also might be familiar with shalom aleichem, peace be upon you, or salam alaikum in Arabic. And then if you pray at all in the Jewish prayer book, you bump into shalom many times. Shalom Rav, may a great peace descend upon us. Or Hu say shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. May the one who makes peace up there somewhere on high bring peace down to us. And shalom is also foundational Jewish value. So you've probably heard of shalom bayit, peace in the family. The tradition says some crazy things about peace in the family, like you can feed a pregnant woman pork for peace in the family. Just to emphasize how important peace in the family is. Or mipnei darkei shalom, which is a legal term actually that means you can do lots of things in order for peace to occur in community. And if we continue, we find that the meaning of shalom even deepens to the point where shalom becomes a name for God, Yud-He Vav-He, the ground of all being. Just stop and think about that for a second, that the shalom that we know and use in a fairly shallow way actually is a name of God. The 15th century rabbi and philosopher Isaac Arama, he described shalom as like the silver thread that holds the universe together. He writes, "Peace is the thread of grace issuing from God, may God be exalted, stringing together all beings. It underlies and sustains reality." That is why God is called peace, because it is God who binds the world together and orders all things. It's beautiful to think about, just hard to realize. Hard to realize, but there anyway. If you are a fan of Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Zen Buddhist teacher, may his memory be for a blessing, he coined a term called interbeing, that we all interbe with each other. And you might say, using Thich Nhat Hanh's teaching, that we inter-are with shalom. We just don't know it. We inter-are with shalom, we just don't know it. It's always there. We just miss it. And you might experience this sometimes, like, I'll give you a brief example. Let's say you're having a great day with your I'll just use myself, with my grandson, having fun in my backyard, it's beautiful. And then I realize I can't find my wallet. All of a sudden, I'm a mess. And then I find my wallet and I'm there again. Shalom was there, it disappeared, and it came back again. It's just a little insight in that we can't access shalom, but our minds can take us away from it. But it's always there all the time. And since the ultimate reality actually is infused with shalom, through practice, we can learn to touch that place, to rest our awareness there, to drink from the healing waters of shalom. We can even learn not to lose our minds when we lose an object and stay in shalom. I mean, that's part of the whole mindfulness exercise, is to learn to stay present and not allow the mind to take you into fear of the future or the past. And if we can manifest shalom in ourselves, if we can learn to trust and rest in this shalomness, if we can inter-are with shalom, we can then become like beacons of shalom in the world around us. So I love a Tibetan Buddhist named Yongo Mingo Rinpoche, a great teacher, who comments that there are a lot of angry people at peace rallies, and how ironic it is that he would say, which we know, like, if you want to bring peace in the world, it needs to start with you, it needs to start with me. So it's easy to get lost in the words, what shalom means and how it manifests. But I think it can be very simple. What does it mean for you to have shalom in your life? Ease, cessation from conflict, maybe inside or in relationship to others, to put a worry down, to be less anxious and more present, to get a good night's sleep, to actually take in that you're okay, to feel loved and lovable, to feel whole. Shalom and shalem, wholeness, come from the same Hebrew roots. So I thought I would chant shalom. You're welcome to join me muted for just a moment, and then we'll go into meditation. I'll give a few words of instruction, and then we go, I think, until what is for you all 1:57. Is that correct, Mark? Okay. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Breathing in shalom, exhaling shalom. Breathing in relaxation, letting go of any tension we're feeling in the body. Breathing in shalom, exhaling shalom. Breathing in relaxation, letting go of any tension we're holding in the body. Shalom. 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 Continue in silence. You can either use shalom as a mantra. Shalom. Follow your breath. If you get lost, just say to yourself, sweetheart, let's come back to breathing and to the word shalom. If you would like, with the short time that we have left, shift your meditation to imagine now that you are a beacon of shalom, sending the blessing of shalom out into the world to all the people sitting with us today, to the people in your community, to all beings everywhere. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. My bell sounded. I'm not sure if you could hear it.
Couldn't hear it, George, but thank you so much for leading us so beautifully today. It was a perfect meditation for leading us into Shabbat, and we seal it as we do each day. We offer any of you who are in mourning, if you're observing a yard site today or this week, or if it's your custom to join in the mourner's Kaddish, let's seal the practice by creating an opportunity to support you. And if you're not reciting Kaddish, it's a reminder to please stay present for those who are. You can put the name or names of those you're honoring in the chat now or after you recite Kaddish. And if you're joining me, please rise in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. Yitkadal, Yitkadash,
Shemei
Amad,
Amad
Vayikon, Yomechon, Vayelel, Yisrael, Ba'agala, Man Yisrael, Yishmei Rabba, Barach, Arash, Yishtabach, Ar, Yishtam, Zay, Ar, Led, Yichulal,
Hadar,
Imedi
Shalom,
Shat, Rich,
Yisrael,
Ela, Mikol, Birchatav,
Mikol, Birchatav,
Shirachta,
Yisrael,
Ushbechatav, Hesed, Amaran, Shalama Rabam, Shamaya, Basai, Malenu, V'Yakol Yisrael, B'Yom Shalom V'Rama, V'Yaseh Shalom, Malenu, V'Yakol Yisrael, V'Yakol Yisrael Tevel, through.
Amen.
And friends, thanks so much for joining us today. If you're leaving us now, just want to give you the lineup for our teachers for next week. Beautiful lineup of teachers for next week. Beginning on Monday with Rabbi Robin Damsky, on Tuesday, Rabbi Sam Feinsmith, my IGS colleague. Wednesday, Rabbi Jenny Salman. Thursday, Rabbi Dorothy Richmond. And a week from today, El Shai will lead us to sit into Shabbat together. So very much looking forward to a beautiful week of practice with all those teachers next week. And if you're staying on, which I hope you will, you're welcome to join us for a conversation about Shalom and about this practice today. If you have a question you want to ask Rabbi George, you can put it in the chat, write question all in caps. If you're leaving us now, I want to wish you a sweet, restorative Shabbat. We need it. And we hope to see you back here on Monday. And thanks as well, of course, to Natalie Rushinoff for holding our tech space today. So
Thank you, Natalie.
George, let's bring you in, and thanks so much. And I was thinking about, as you were speaking about shalom, I was thinking, wow, the word shalom, can be, people can experience it as so cliched. It's a word that loses its meaning from repetition. We say shalom, we say shalom, hello, goodbye, etc. And it's such, if you were to think about, 10 Hebrew words that are essential to know for Jewish spirituality. I don't know about you, but I would certainly put that on my top 10, right? And the root of the word, meaning wholeness, completeness, really changes it, from peace, I think, in some ways. You pointed to it in terms of the connections that it involves, horizontal and vertical.
Right.
And then it struck me, like you used the word, with the horizontal was Ben Adam Lechavero, interpersonal, and the vertical was Ben Adam Lamakom. And you said the name of God, your favorite name for the divine is Hamakom, the place. And I thought, oh, Shalom Hamakom, which, and I was just thinking about the resonance of the Om, which of course is so central in Hindu and I believe also in Buddhist circles, right? As this kind of the sound of the universe, sound, the sonic version of consciousness. So just I never had struck me like Shalom. I always thought, oh, that's like the Jewish version of Om. But then with Hamakom, so I was sitting here the whole time with a little bit of that Om resonating with me. So I don't know. And if you had ever caught that about Hamakom,
I never have. Beautiful. I'm wondering what other folks.
Feel free, please, in the chat, whatever came up for you around it.
I think while I'm reading lovely comments, that it's a nice simple form of metta, or loving kindness practice, or blessings practice. One word that embodies what it would mean to feel love, to feel grace, to feel equanimity. And from the other thing that comes to mind for me is that if I am resting in shalom, I have a much better chance of being an open-hearted, kind human. Mochin de Gadlut, expanded consciousness, is a shalom consciousness. Mochin de Katnuda, a narrow consciousness, is a consciousness where you don't experience shalom. Question: please explain more about vertical and horizontal. Beautiful.
Good.
So it's I was taught many years ago the Jewish framework is bein adam lechavero chavera, between one person and another. So interpersonal, that would be the horizontal, and
Mhm.
then bein adam lamakom would be between a person and God. That would be vertical. Of course, it's all metaphor. And is there the bigger question, is there really a difference? Like ultimately, I don't think there is, but it is a nice way to differentiate certain kind of actions. Like during the holy days, we talk about you're responsible primarily ben adam l'chavaro, between you and another person. You need to go make amends, ask for forgiveness, make it right, and then God will, in a way, take care of ben adam lamakom. Like if you do the interpersonal work and on Yom Kippur, then atonement works.
Mhm.
So that's one way to look at it. Or only God knows about Ben Adam Lamakom, between you and the place. But on the personal realm, it's you and the other person, and of course, God knows all. Um, I'm not sure. Ultimately, I don't believe there's a distinction. That is, I see God in another human being, and so that kind of collapses these horizontal lines. But for conversation, for teaching purposes, it's helpful. Was
Yeah,
that at all clear? Mark, would you
that's
add
good.
or?
Yeah, no, I thought that's great, and I appreciate that. You talking about that you say explicitly. We're talking metaphorically, right? And so I'm also thinking about the intersection of those of the vertical and horizontal, where those collapse, like you said, where you realize that that's kind of an illusory distinction between one or the other. That human beings, as representations of the divine image, are another way of the so-called vertical encounter. Just want to bring in the question, which is the perennial question, especially these days, about how to have shalom in the midst of a storm. And Mir wrote, perhaps I can make it my umbrella. Um,
I
you
love
know,
it.
yeah. What do you
I
think?
I want to say that these practices are not very useful if they don't help us when we need them. So that's specifically why we practice, so that we can have some equanimity, some shalom when it gets really hard. Now, it can be aspirational. I say to myself, okay, I'm not the Buddha or the Alter Rebbe or whoever the sage you look up to is, but I can still strive to do better and be better. And I think, like, let's take shalom. If you were to work with shalom as a mantra meditation, even a couple minutes a day, you would develop the muscle, the spiritual muscle. It would be in your toolkit. And when something arises, it could be as small as you're stuck in traffic, or as big as you're confronting a serious illness, or you're listening to the news and something horrible has been said or happened. You could go to it and say to yourself, breathing in shalom, breathing out shalom. And even the awareness, I'm triggered, shalom can come to my aid, might be enough to bring your blood pressure down and also keep you from saying or doing something that you would regret.
Yeah.
Um,
George, let me bring in this another
sure.
question from which is related, just picking up on what you're saying about what it feels like, what shalom feels like in body, mind, and spirit, and each just
Yeah, yeah.
so invite people to share in the chat, of course, as well about this too. What does that feel
You're
like?
asking me, you're
Especially,
asking me,
well, if
asking,
someone, yeah, someone in the chat is asking you, what does that feel like? So I'm just
sure.
throwing
So
that out, yeah.
it feels like relaxed in the body. So for me, that means my shoulders down, my stomach soft, my jaw open.
Mm,
It feels also relaxed in the mind. I'm not in fight or flight. I have some expansiveness and the ability to think rationally, and also relaxed in the heart. I'm not angry or frightened, but fully present and available.
mm. I want to connect that because the question really has to do with like when we're not feeling it, how do we feel it? And that makes me think about the role of prayer in relationship to this. And yesterday, Rabbi Sarah Brandis used Hatikva as a kind of
Mhm.
prayer for hope. Um, so I'm wondering in moments like that when we feel like, I can't access this, there's too much stress, there's too much, turmoil. I'm not feeling peaceful right now. Rather than, that maybe that's a moment to chant shalom as a prayer rather than as a settling, like as I'm, as a,
So I think, Mark, what you're saying is maybe this is a place where we ask for help from God.
right.
Um,
Or
and
meta, or like you said, it's a meta practice, like we're
so,
praying for
yeah,
shalom
yeah,
first.
yeah. So I think for those that their spiritual life works that way,
Mm-hmm,
um, God help me feel shalom, or understand when I say shalom that I'm asking God to help manifest shalom inside me. I think that's beautiful. And
mm-hmm.
for those that don't, their spiritual life doesn't work that way, then shalom itself, once you work with it for a little while, can be really helpful. There are going to be times when not much is helpful. Maybe medication is helpful. Maybe exercise is helpful. Maybe other things are helpful. Um,
Well, nature.
but
George, I'm going to use that as a segue because
okay,
first of all, maybe Natalie, if you can put the link once more to the retreat that George is leading with Cantor Kareth in Mexico in November. Uh, I know that looks so incredibly delicious, but I also in in Rabbi George's retirement, I don't know if you did
oh,
this
thank you.
earlier, is a wonderful photographer of nature. So I was thinking also of nature as a restorative of shalom, which
For sure.
that's where we are. So Natalie, maybe if you are able to call up the little photo gallery, these are photos that Rabbi George has taken of birds. Maybe you can say a little bit about that and
Sure. My thank you
connection.
so much. So, um, one of my primary forms of prayer is bird photography, actually, and being out in nature. So, um, this is in the middle. Can you go to the top? It doesn't really matter, but yeah, go that way. Um, there you go. That's you'll see there's a bobcat there, and that's a short-eared owl. Maybe click on the owl. Can you make it bigger? And make it click on it one more time. See,
Wow.
there you go.
Hello.
So yeah, there we go. That's one of the ways that I seek shalom is I get out in nature and then um, take photos and work with them. But you all have your ways, I'm sure. Play with the dog, be with your family. Shalom itself is just one tool to access shalom, or one prayer, or one blessing. It happens also to be a very powerful one, and I think it will serve us well if we use it. It's in the Jewish lexicon. Lama lo, why not?
Thank you, George. Yeah,
Thanks so much. It's been
Natalie,
just lovely to be back in touch, and it's an amazing community, really.
it really is. Thanks, George, for your part in supporting it and offering this beautiful teaching. That picture, just before we close, I was going to say, I saw an incredible video today of a 96-year-old woman who's just was speaking about living a life of wonder and being out in nature and basically seeing herself in everything. I was thinking about that. I was looking at that owl. Um, and just to type, you know, close the circle here around shalom, that sense of identification, like why is nature, why is seeing that owl looking at us so powerful and so restorative, is that sense of the innate connection, or as you put it, the silver thread that ties everything together, which is one of the reasons why this community, I think, is powerful, because regardless of the fact that we're in different time zones and physical places, there is that sense of this silver thread that's connecting us, that offers just a little taste of shalom in the course of the day. So hope everybody can carry some of the shalom that you've cultivated for us today, George, into Shabbat
Thank
and
you
to
very
the
much.
weekend. Okay. Real blessing to be with you all. Okay. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks each of you for being here.
Thank you,
Really.
Natalie. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.